Hello and welcome to Camnet Television Main News. My name is Jeffrey Zambo to present the news. Our top stories in the news tonight: an opposition political party to protest over the LUSAKA-NDOLA dual carriageway. Traders operating at Lusaka's city market accuse street vendors of blocking drainages in the CBD. Police arrest 2 people for being in possession of 119 ZANACO ATM cards and 93 SIM cards. In international news, 2.3 million Yemeni children malnourished, says the United Nations. And in sports news, Nottingham Forest played to a 2-2 draw with Everton.
On Monday, 16th March 2023, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba with his guest, Mr. Xavier Chimba, President of UPP.
In the hands of a black man, it will lead to confusion, so you are guilty. The ruling of the magistrate court is appointed. Now, those are the systems that we are maintaining until now. It's oppressive. So this country does not have a governance structure. This country is centered on the president, the vice president.
As they discuss governance, corruption, justice and economy.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp and text messages. Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Hello again, the news in detail. A 52-year-old woman of Lusaka's Kamanga compound has called on authorities to help her secure a shelter where she can take care of her 8-year-old grandson who is blind, deaf and dumb. Violet Chipesa tells Camnet News in an interview that following the death of her daughter last year, she has been left with the responsibility of looking after her grandson, who is blind, deaf and dumb, while she has no stable employment. Ms. Chipesa says her grandson's condition has exposed her to vulnerabilities, as she is unable to do any activity without carrying her grandson along. She has since called on the authorities to help her erect a proper shelter where she will be able to raise her grandson. More in this report.
A day starts by carrying her 8-year-old grandson who is deaf, blind and dumb on her back as she goes into the community to seek piecework so that she can provide a meal for a disabled grandson and a 17-year-old son. Violet Chipesa, a 52-year-old woman of Lusaka's Kamanga compound, has explained that life has not been easy for her following the death of her daughter last year, who has now left her with the responsibility of taking care of her disabled grandson. She narrates that due to the condition of her grandson, who is unable to see, hear and talk, she is forced to carry him on her back every day as she goes into the community to seek work because she has no one to leave him with.
So nisota munene mankadira naye sometimes toilet imamuvuta nimatoka kutia mungakata pupu nimatoyola munyumba muno so boss anata expect nata anyway ni mwana wangu jo anamwalira niputikana naye mwana mwandi mwantu sagona usiku sayangana samvera so apa pana gonera akapena anagona mairo namanja kalibo gona.
Ms. Chipesa also says she has been informed by doctors that her grandson will never be able to see again and that she has been trying to take him to advanced health facilities to have his ears checked as well, but says resources have been a limiting factor.
Condition yake namba mu 20 after 18 months 18 months then ubona yamba condition. So kulena mwana nuza kwa nimpeka kuchani. I think now naenda mu UTH ninaenda kwa clinic kuja natikapena zankala buno meso ninaenda konse. So kulena mwana nuza kwa timkaenda kwa babykiwa kutoka mande kapena kaenda kampime ko sometimes mumatu.
Ms. Ms. Chipesa is currently renting this one-roomed house at 450 kwacha, but says her family has a farm in Kasisi where she is willing to relocate with her grandson if well-wishers, including the government, can come on board and help her erect a shelter at the farm, away from the family house which is already occupied by so many family members.
Tina farm kuja kufamu kwa sisi kuja wanenkalira mani mangira chapa kwa wanurumu pane kachapa nukukala na mzimai bati ni muna wakina zinkalira nzisungira mwana tizamenga pempe kwa chabi mwana kuliwa boma so hapa tajaira madezi ya nuso chabi.
And when asked if a grandson is registered on the social cash transfer program, Ms. Chipesa admitted that he is a beneficiary but says the resources are not enough to take care of his daily needs. She says some community members have advised her to take her grandson to an orphanage, but she feels a love for him surpasses all the challenges she undergoes, adding that doing so will render him more vulnerable as he cannot talk, hear and see, meaning it totally depends on someone to do any activities, including eating and answering the call of nature. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Traders operating from Lusaka's city and Soweto markets say street vendors operating outside markets are responsible for blocking drainages meant to service markets, a situation which often leads to flooding once it rains. Speaking to Camnet News, traders at the two markets have therefore urged the Lusaka City Council to consider removing vendors operating outside these facilities, stating that they have no proper methods of waste disposal. Government, through the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, is yet to make an official statement on the fate of street vendors, with only vendors selling cooked food having been banned from doing so on the 19th of February 2023 as one measure of preventing the spread of cholera. More in this report.
Street vendors in Zambia are often blamed for littering as they do not operate from established facilities like markets, which have waste disposal mechanisms in place. These are also often accused of answering the call of nature or passing urine in undesignated places as they have no toilet facilities. Another concern that has risen on street vending is that vendors do not have access to running water as do those in markets, making the observation of hygiene on the streets questionable. Street vendors and local authorities have therefore been fighting running battles as these often return to the streets despite being chased several times, claiming that all markets are full. Traders at Lusaka and Soweto markets say they are tired of dealing with the problem of flooding at their markets when it rains, despite these places having drainage systems. They state that their drainages have been blocked by waste, a situation which they have blamed on vendors trading outside markets. They have further urged the Lusaka City Council LCC to monitor toilet usage in public markets, observing that most toilets are abused.
Vafuniko ya chako innovate wakasikiri na vakanzo neti vafsirira cheva ndo wakati matishu katika ngenamo spesa muritoti sivafurasha vya vintu so vakaso vafuniko fakira konzero vafuniko fakira ko cleanness vakazo vafuniko seveza nchito yao ma drainage muritoti ma drainage vafuniko fasura so panja papari doti apane sevenzera wa mabasa vafuniko tirangana hapo vakanzo.
For those trading at Soweto Market, the complaint is the same, stating that this has further been worsened by the market lacking adequate drainages.
Maendedwe kulimatika ngati baikakoa bakakonza baikakotala ola baikakota baby vidoti at least kuzakala kwa kunini in terms of Soweto check.
The call from the affected market traders is for a strong stance against street vending, stating that most street vendors are simply chasing after fast business while many markets have been abandoned. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Economic Freedom Fighters Party President Kasonde Mwenda has called the recent availed LUSAKA-NDOLA dual carriageway road project a scam meant to defraud the Zambian people of its meager resources. In an interview, Mr. Mwenda has wondered why government institutions such as NAPSA would be used to finance a private company to undertake a government project. Mr. Mwenda has further hinted that Macro Ocean Company that has been engaged to construct the road has no record of past construction successes, further saying the company has no proper physical address. He says his party would not sit and watch and soon will be staging a protest against the decision.
The concession over the Lusaka-NDOLA carriageway is a total scam. It is just a conduit, it's a Trojan horse to defraud this country of its meager resources. Because what is happening is the understanding of a PPP is that the private should partner with the government and the private should source financing as a way to shield the country, the public, from the excesses that comes with funding a high-risk project. But what we have seen now happen is a process where the government, which is supposed to be protected, it is the one that is funding a PPP. That's an anomaly and it's tantamount to criminality. You can't have NAPSA, you can't have workers' compensation funding a PPP. If government has got the money, it should go ahead and build that road on its own, like what we saw happen on the Chingola Kitwe Road, where we saw NAPSA fund a project to RDA. That's how you do it. But what has happened is we have had this macro ocean company, which is just a criminal organization that has come on board without fixed aboard. If you check them, they don't even have past experience. If you check them, they don't even have the address. If you look at the letter of committal from NAPSA, you find that there's even no address there. But how would you commit a lot of resources to a company that is non-existent? Two, we don't know what they're bringing on board. They are not a construction company. They are not a project management company. So they are coming there with nothing but just to loot. And to make matters worse, they are being given a privilege to utilize the resources through targets for 25 years. The economic freedom fighters will not watch this happen. And we are inviting Zambians. We have already gotten a permit. And this Friday, we are going to the Civic Center to demonstrate heavily, and we'll take a petition to the DC with a view that it takes it to the president.
Police in Lusaka have nabbed 2 people for being in possession of 119 ZANACO automated teller machine ATM cards and 93 SIM cards belonging to Airtel and MTN network providers. Police Deputy Spokesperson Danny Mwale says the 2 suspects are aged 27 and 37 and are tenants occupying a house in Ibex Meanwood in which the stolen items were found. Mr. Mwale says police were tipped by a concerned member of the community in Ibex Meanwood on March 4, 2023 around 14 hours and immediately rushed to the house where a search was conducted. He says the ATM cards and SIM cards were found concealed in a bag which also contained an ATM verification machine and some bank documents.
In Lusaka have arrested 2 people for the offense of being in possession of property suspected to have been stolen. This is a case where 2 suspects were found in possession of 119 ZANACO ATM cards and 93 SIM cards for Airtel and MTN. Police were tipped by a concerned member of the community in Ibex Meanwood on March 4, 2023 around 14 hours and immediately rushed to the house where a search was conducted. The ATM cards and SIM cards were found concealed in a bag which also contained an ATM verification machine and some bank documents. The 2 suspects, who are aged 27 and 37, are tenants occupying the same house in Ibex Meanwood. They are detained in police custody while investigations are ongoing. And a motor vehicle, Jeep Cherokee, was broken into by unknown people who stole from therein money amounting to 21,000 kwacha by means of forcing the driver's door open.
The Opposition Patriotic Front, PF, has urged President Hakainde Hichilema to consider engaging various stakeholders in the country aimed at finding solutions to Zambia's prevailing social and economic challenges. Speaking to Camnet News, PF Deputy Media Director Edwin Lifwekelo notes that while it is commendable that the president is looking for solutions from other countries through his foreign trips, local stakeholders can advise on policies which will see Zambia's urgent challenges such as hunger among citizens solved. Meanwhile, Mr. Lifwekelo notes that if Zambia's 8th National Development Plan is to be realized, thorough investigations should be made, including among members of the ruling UPND, to ensure that public resources are safeguarded.
The situation on the ground is just alarming, disastrous, because ultimately people are suffering. No drugs in hospitals, even when you are being told there are drugs in hospital. People cannot afford the meal. Fuel issues which are being increased left, right, and center. Nobody can afford anything. So it's high time the president takes an introspection. Forget about all these trips of going outside all the time. You are the one who is flying out to market Zambia. Because Zambians indeed are suffering, no money in circulation, many issues of economic malaise, corruption issues which are following up all the time. The issues that this official is involved in this. Even then, we also want to ask the Anti-Corruption Commission. There was a question posed to the Director General of Anti-Corruption Commission and the spokesperson Anti-Corruption Commission with regard to alpha commodities. Zambians are still waiting for answers. What happened to that single sourcing of fertilizer? A company that was influenced, according to what is in the public domain, alpha commodity, which is owed by the husband to the Minister of Information, was single sourced. The Anti-Corruption Commission told Zambians that they are doing investigations. Information filtering is that there is a lot of interference in that investigation, and up to date, Zambians have not been given leverage, they have not been given information as to what has happened to that investigation. We want Anti-Corruption Commission to expedite the process and tell Zambians, because it's in public interest, Zambians must know what has happened in that investigation.
The Third Liberation Movement Party has urged President Hakainde Hichilema to ensure that tax is lifted off for local business owners to ensure that the cost of doing business is lowered, as it is currently too high. Mr. Tonga is of the view that the current administration should begin putting in place such initiatives to improve the living standards of Zambians, stating that this is not a matter that needs to go to Parliament. A number of business owners have been lamenting that the cost of doing business has gone up, as they are currently importing goods at a high cost, while customers are not willing to buy the goods at profitable margins.
We continue putting what we think is correct for the nation on record. Now, let's start looking at the issue of local businessman. When Hakainde Hichilema formed the government, people had so much hope in him. There are issues that can be done almost immediate, and these issues are as follows. Business community is struggling to run their businesses because the cost of running business is too high. Now, there's need for Hakainde Hichilema, this government, to consider, immediate removal of taxes or costs that are affecting the business community. These things can be done. You don't need to go through the parliament or waste so much time.
The Zambia Compulsory Standards Agency, ZCSA, has warned of stern action against illegal importation and sale of used textile products containing undergarments. ZCSA Head of Communications, Brian Hatioka, says the agency has observed that members of the general public have been reluctant in enforcing the statutory instrument number 120 of 2006, which aims to protect the safety of consumers, which prohibits the importation and sale of used textile products containing undergarments and nightwear. Mr. Hatioka says some of these products being illegally sold on the market may pose a risk to the health and safety of the public, hence calling on members of the public to desist from buying such products. More in this report.
Despite the Zambian government banning the sale of second-hand underwears through a statutory instrument number 120 of 2006 in order to protect the safety of consumers, because used textile products that are worn in very close contact with the skin may cause ailments such as skin rash. The country has, however, continued to see second-hand underwears on the market, and the traders have complained that they cannot abandon the business as it is their own sources of income.
Because when I want to work when so start afford drama yogula makabdula shop, because makabdula shop it's 25 kwacha 30 kwacha, but when you go to Salaula it's 5 kwacha 7 kwacha. So
the Zambia Compulsory Standard Agency is, however, not happy to see second-hand undergarments continue to be found on the Zambian market. Organization Head of Communications Brian Hatioka has since warned of stern action against illegal importation and sale of used textile products containing second-hand garments.
Now, when you look at a used textile product like underwear, they are so close to the skin, and then if someone was using it and then that person had skin rash, what happens to the person who buys it? That person will also have rash. And if you have rash and that rash is not treated, maybe it leads to death. Who has killed this person? Of course, the person who sold and the trader, the manufacturer. So we should not reach that level where we are using these used textile products, the underwear, the vests, the pajamas. We should not continue having these on the market. It's illegal to start with because that statutory instrument was issued 18 years ago.
Mr. Hachoka further says his organization will be working with the law enforcers to ensure the law is complied upon, and has also cautioned members of the general public to stop buying the second-hand undergarments as they pose serious health risks to consumers.
The time these products reach the market, they need to be checked by the agency if really they are meeting the safety of the public, they are not threatening the health of the public. So we have to work together maybe with the traders. Also, let's work together with the public. When you see that people are sneaking in products that are not meeting the standards, alert the agents so that the agents can work with you to make sure that these products are removed on the market. But again, the law allows the agents to partner with other state institutions like the police. So we'll work with the police.
With the global economy battling with diseases such as the COVID-19 pandemic, monkeypox, among other serious diseases, the use of second-hand garments poses serious health risks to consumers, hence the need for law enforcers to move in and enforce the law. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Seventh-day Adventist Church in Lusaka has challenged other churches to help government in fighting outbreaks in the country, such as cholera. SDA Mtendere Mission District Leader Rhoda Muzelengani states that the church, working with Adventist Men's Organization AMO, have begun constructing a cholera shelter at Mtendere Health Center, where patients with suspected cholera cases will be treated. She was speaking Sunday afternoon at Mtendere Health Center, where the church was also renovating a shelter which the church had put up at the health center during the height of the coronavirus pandemic to help in testing suspected COVID-19 cases. More in this report.
Apart from offering spiritual needs, churches in Zambia have often been seen as a partner in development, as they often travel far and wide in search of souls and are therefore exposed to different challenges affecting communities. The Seventh-day Adventist Church, among others, has continued to pose a challenge to other churches with adequate resources to help in solving the country's social problems. SDM Tendere Mission District and the Adventist Men's Organization AMO took it upon themselves Sunday afternoon to begin constructing a shelter at Mtendere Health Center, which will be used to house suspected cholera cases. This is in the wake of cholera cases being recorded in various parts of the country. SDM Tendere Mission District Leader Sister Rhoda Muzelengani was speaking to Camnet News.
We are community service workers. So we are here at Mtendere Health Center doing this project, and we have our many projects, that shelter. In fact, that shelter is the initiative of Mtendere Mission District, Doctors and AMO. They are the people who built that shelter. Now it needs some renovations, so that's why we are here.
The visit to the health center is also aimed at renovating a COVID-19 shelter which was put up by the church, but is now becoming dilapidated.
So what you have just seen here are the works of the doctors, workers and AMO here at Mtendere Clinic. What we are doing, we have been called to do some emergency planning and building of a shelter that is to cater for cholera patients. We know we are in cholera season, but the main project of this team here is the shelter which deals with COVID, where we have outward patients who are waiting to be dealt with in terms of testing and also administering of the COVID. So what we have just been doing today is actually laying the foundation for the cholera center, which we hope to end this coming Wednesday.
According to data from the Ministry of Health dated 4th March 2023, Zambia currently has 191 active cholera cases and 14 admissions in various parts of the country, namely Vubwi, Chipata, Nchelenge, and Lusangazi. Zipora Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
You're watching Camnet Television Main News. We'll take our first break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes, and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Living in a wonderful country full of opportunities for investment in property. Make sure your investment is guaranteed. Are you in the process of buying or selling land or properties? Don't waste your time and money. Contact SGK Property Company on 0966 610755 or 0762 166018. SGK, a company that will conduct due diligence for you before you purchase any property. Go for a tried and tested, genuine company in Zambia. SGK Property Consultants.
On Monday, 16th March 2023, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba with his guest, Mr. Xavier Chimba, President of UPP.
In the hands of a black man, it will lead to confusion, so you are guilty. The ruling of the magistrate court is applied. Now, those are the systems that you are maintaining until now. It's oppressive. So this country does not have a governance structure. This country is centered on the president, the vice president.
As they discuss governance, corruption, justice, and economy.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, and text messages. Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. The Media Network on Child Rights and Development, MNCRD, has joined the rest of the world to appreciate various media outlets that will provide platforms for the children to do shows and present news to the general public. MNRCD Executive Director Henry Kabwe says this year's theme is timely as it presents a two-tier approach to enhancing the lives of the children in order for them to fulfill their potential, protection and investment. Mr. Kabwe notes that the theme, which is Invest in Us, Protect Us, We Are the Future, reminds stakeholders of the need to ensure that there is holistic focus not only on the protection of children, but also on their development. He says investing in children is as good as investing in the future of the country, adding that with the introduction of free education in Zambia, more children are getting access to education, a situation he says should be commended.
The demand and pressure on schools, which has seen, in some cases, having a teacher-pupil ratio of 1 to 150, shows the gaps that were there that disadvantaged poor and vulnerable families from having their children accessing education, thereby affecting the development cycle. The pressure created should drive government to engage partners to ensure that we ascertain the needs and meet them through local and international budget support. Such support should extend to the review of the curriculum, the need to reform our examination system to make learners concentrate on getting knowledge, behaviors, values, and skills other than merely passing examinations as a primary purpose. The expansion of early childhood education in Zambia, the school feeding programs, and other interventions, including quality health, can prepare our children to become competent, accountable, incorruptible, responsible, and skilled citizens able to take Zambia to socio-economic development. As chairperson of the Zambia National Education Coalition, ZANACO, MNCRD will continue to engage government in the promotion of quality education in Zambia with other ZANACO members. This can grossly be affected when children are not protected from any form of abuse. Child abuse has been banned through the statutes, but it continues being unreported in many communities that have accepted child labor, sexual abuse, corporal punishment, and other demeaning forms of abuse.
Zambia has received recognition and attention worldwide as a new death penalty abolitionist state. Justice Minister Mulambo Haimbe says this means that Zambia has become a beacon of hope and light in the abolish movement. Speaking on the sidelines of the 13th International Congress of Justice Ministers in Rome, Italy, organized by the community of Sant'Egidio under the theme No Justice Without Life, Mr. Haimbe reflected that the whole idea of attending these conferences and similar events is to showcase what we have achieved as a Republic of Zambia. Meanwhile, the Justice Minister says it is a crucial time for Zambia, being part of the 113 countries who have abolished the death penalty in law and not merely just practice.
Similar events is to showcase what we have achieved as the Republic of Zambia. It's no mean feat to have abolished the death penalty, to have taken this bold step. As you know, it's been 25 years from 1997 since the moratorium on the death penalty was put in place. But that was not sufficient. Now what we have done is to amend the laws, and it's something that the world over, Zambia has gotten the attention of everyone. And as you've seen from this conference, everybody in the world would want to see how we did it, to learn how we did it, and to show Zambia as a beacon of hope, a beacon of light in the abolitionist movement. It is something that the world is moving towards, and I would like to commend His Excellency the President, Hakainde Hichilema, for taking this bold.
The Ministry of Agriculture in Southern Province has scaled up promotion of mechanization equipment and implements among farmers to increase crop production. Southern Province Senior Farm Power and Mechanization Officer Brighton Mianze says the ministry is seriously considering the National Agricultural Mechanization Strategy, promoting use of agricultural machinery, implements and equipment in the province. Mr. Mianze was speaking when he visited Kalembo Farm in Sibanyati State Land Agricultural Block in Choma with other senior provincial agricultural officers to check on farm mechanization activities. And the Sibanyati Camp Agricultural Officer Funda Sakahumba says farmers using mechanization by utilizing agricultural implements and equipment are cultivating large portions of field crops. More in this report.
The Ministry of Agriculture in Southern Province has intensified the promotion of mechanized equipment among farmers to increase crop production. Southern Province Farm Power and Mechanization Officer Brighton Mianze says the ministry is seriously considering National Agricultural Mechanization Strategy, promoting use of agricultural machinery, implements and equipment in the province.
As the Minister of Agriculture, currently, we are looking at the mechanization. We are trying to see how we can actually mechanize agriculture, to bring in machinery to do this mechanization. We are looking at the National Agricultural Mechanization Strategy that is being discussed now.
And Sibanyati Camp Agriculture Officer Funda Sakahumba says farmers using mechanization by utilizing agricultural implements and equipment are cultivating large portions of field crops.
The hectareage for this portion where we are standing now is about 10 hectares. And when you look at even the market value of this is slightly higher because groundnuts cannot be compared to maize selling price.
Meanwhile, Charles Maplanga of Kalembo Farm in Choma noted that the farm has grown 26 hectares of groundnuts using mechanized equipment such as a tractor.
Zirahambana kujita jintu dhani kuberesha manza na ngombe. Na usana poido tulima ngombe ndizangu 1 hectare poido tulima ngombe 1 hectare ila to take you some days mazuwa mabotu botu. But utwaberesha yeji ma minutes ibyo amani.
Reporting Lawrence Kabutu in Choma.
We'll take our second and final break. Join us for international sports news after the break.
Living in a wonderful country full of opportunities for investment in property. Make sure your investment is guaranteed. Are you in the process of buying or selling land or properties? Don't waste your time and money. Contact SGK Property Company on 0966 610755 or 0762 166018. SGK, a company that will conduct due diligence for you before you purchase any property. Go for a tried and tested genuine company in Zambia. SGK Property Consultants.
On Monday, 16th March 2023, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba with his guest, Mr. Sevia Chimba, President of UPP.
In the hands of a black man, it will lead to confusion, so you are guilty. The ruling of the magistrate court is approved. Now, those are the systems that you are maintaining until now. It's oppressive. So this country does not have a governance structure. This country is centered on the president, the vice president.
As they discuss governance, corruption, justice and economy.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp and text messages. Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. In international news, one of the least developed countries in the world is Yemen. Millions of people there are facing poverty, famine, malnutrition and insecurity. After 8 years of civil war, the UN says most of its population is in desperate need of aid. For more in international news, here's a roundup.
Salwa weighs only 6 kilograms, even though she's 9 years old. She lives in Yemen and is a victim of war.
She has malnutrition. The doctor said that she must stay in the hospital for 3 months to be treated. But we could not, because we do not have the necessary expenses to buy milk and biscuits, because we have nothing.
Like hundreds of other Yemenis, Salwa and her family live in Al-Khadish camp. It's located in the Hajj governorate in northern Yemen and shelters those who've been forced from their homes by conflict. But life here is tough. Families are crowded inside these tiny shelters made of sticks and straw. Water is hard to get, and there's no sanitation. People are forced to search through rubbish dumps to find food and anything that'll help them survive.
I am looking for plastic cans to sell. I have a child who does not go to school. He and I go to work like this. My husband is disabled at home. If we eat in the morning, we will not have dinner. And if we have dinner, we will not have lunch. We fled our region and we are here. Our condition is very bad and we have nothing.
This woman says it's difficult to give children here the care they need.
We are poor, so if a child gets sick, we do not find him the required treatment or any other thing. The stores of the organisations are full of mattresses and water containers, but we can't find containers to put water in. We suffer from both the sun and the cold, living in rags of tarpaulin, as you can see.
Every family in this camp is suffering from extreme poverty. They go out searching for anything they might come across, or for a neighbour who might have some food to share. In other camps, the organisations distribute stuff, but here they give neither food nor soap nor water containers. We have some worn-out blankets that are 2 years old. It's tragic.
Camps like this one are spread across Yemen. It's one of the poorest countries in the world, and the civil war has made people's lives worse. 8 years ago, Houthi militias backed by Iran marched from the north and took the capital Sana'a. The elected government was forced into exile, and an alliance of Arab countries launched an air bombardment campaign to restore the ousted government. But the conflict hasn't stopped. It's caused the death of hundreds of thousands of civilians and forced millions to flee their homes. The United Nations describes it as the world's worst humanitarian crisis. Enough food, and 400,000 of them are suffering from severe malnutrition.
French President Emmanuel Macron was welcomed by Democratic Republic of Congo's President Félix Tshisekedi in the capital Kinshasa. But not everybody in Congo is happy about it. Activists have demonstrated against the visit in Goma and Kinshasa.
We don't want President Macron in our country because he's financing the Rwandan government in order to kill our people.
They blame France for supporting neighbouring Rwanda, that's widely understood to back the M23 armed group in eastern Congo. More than 500,000 people have fled their homes as its fighters have advanced in the last year. They're accused of massacring dozens of civilians. They carry Rwandan army equipment. In Kinshasa, Macron said all sides in the conflict had agreed to a ceasefire. None of the previous ceasefire declarations in recent months have worked.
La République démocratique du Congo.
The Democratic Republic of Congo must not be the spoils of war. The pillaging of the Democratic Republic of Congo must stop. No looting, no balkanization, no war.
Macron's tour also included stops in Republic of Congo, Angola and Gabon. He started his tour saying the era of French interference in Africa was over.
This discourse that French neocolonialism is over, well, it has been there for at least the last 5 decades. But the reality is here because that are opposed by their populations.
In Kinshasa, Macron promised about $36 million for those forced from their homes, and in Angola he offered a loan of about $150 million for what he called climate resilience. But critics say that's a fraction of what France earns from African oil and other natural resources.
We now have some sports news. The sports news. In our sports news tonight, Nottingham Forest twice came from behind to rescue what could prove to be a crucial Premier League point after a poor-setting 2-2 draw with Everton. The pressure was firmly on Everton going into the game, with Dash side knowing defeat would see them drop 7 points behind Nottingham Forest. Having seen fellow strugglers Bournemouth, West Ham and Leeds all lose on Saturday, Everton had an opportunity to move up to 16th in the table, but they left a rowdy City ground frustrated. But their inability to win away from Goodison Park is costing them dearly. Johnson's late equaliser means Everton still have just one away victory this season at Southampton on the 1st of October. To end Camnet television news, we'll take a look at the top stories once again. An opposition political party to protest over the LUSAKA-NDOLA dual carriageway. Traders operating at Lusaka's city market accuse street vendors of blocking drainages in the CBD. Police arrest 2 people for being in possession of 119 ZANACO ATM cards and 93 SIM cards. In international news, 2.3 million Yemeni children malnourished, says the United Nations. And in sports news, Nottingham Forest played to a 2-2 draw with Everton. Our Camnet verse of the day is coming from Joshua 1 verse 8, "This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall read and meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything in accordance with all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will be successful." Thank you once again for watching Camnet Television Main News. I'm Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.